All right, so two things up front. One, it's not clickbait. You stick with me to the end, I'll give you an accounting down to the penny on this. Two, it's not meant to be a knock towards pharmacy. I have the utmost respect for pharmacy. Some of my favorite people in this world are still pharmacists. And one thing you should know about me, I don't ever compare myself to other people. I will, however, compare myself to myself. And this is basically me doing that. I'm comparing my situation today versus my situation from 3 years ago. So that being said, let's get after it. So how did I make this happen? Well, it was a total of 6 loads. I always say I have this fear of missing out sitting at home on my couch. I see these great loads dropping on the load board and it's like, man, I wish I were there because, they need to be picked up in 20 minutes and I'm 35 minutes away. So part of it is kind of getting out and getting into it. So the 2 I had booked, the 2 that got me off my couch down where I needed to be, I had 2 round trips, both going from Otay to Poway and then returning to Otay. The first one left at 7 p.m. That was a round trip that paid $412. The second one was scheduled to start at 9:15. Here's the beautiful thing about being out and being where I need to be between those 2. So the first one, I got back to Otay on the first one about 8:45. They had one drop that needed to go across the street. And I always say, those are just right place, right time. They'll pay you $200 to move a trailer across the street. So between 8:45 and 9:15, they dropped one of these that needed to be moved across the street. That was $202. So the first Otay one was $412. One across the street was $202. The second Poway one was $324. So now I'm heading back to Otay, and at midnight, they had another one that dropped leaving from Otay. So I did have to deadhead out of Otay up to Poway. That's 41 miles. I went up to Poway and they had one going up to Moreno Valley. Paid $661 a mile for a total of $562. Now the whole way I'm driving to Moreno Valley, I have the load board running saying, show me any loads that are in or around Moreno Valley area going back to San Diego because that's where I want to be. So when that load finished up, when I got up to Moreno Valley, I got up there about 2:15 in the morning. They had another one leaving literally across the street. I'm not even going to include deadhead miles into it because I literally left one gate, drove across the street, and drove into the next gate. That one went from Moreno Valley back to Otay and paid $685 or $666 a mile. So that's 5 loads done. It's now 5 in the morning. I'm coming back to Otay. Day's pretty much done. I'm excited with where I'm at. And they have this one that started at about 5:15 a.m. and it was an Otay to Vista to Otay. Now usually like real early morning, real late night, I'm talking, 2 in the morning till 6 in the morning. They will typically pay a little bit more for those. That Otay to Vista back to Otay round trip was $478, ended up being $452 a mile. So these 6 loads, you add them all up, was 461 miles loaded on the truck, made a total of $2,665.04. That comes down to $5.78 a mile. If you add in all my total deadhead for that, there was 98 miles of deadhead. That's me driving from, my house to Otay, obviously empty. That one that ended in Otay and I needed to be back up in Poway, that was 41 miles. That one I picked up across the street, there was like 3 miles of deadhead there. I say across the street, but anything less than 5 miles I consider to be across the street. So 98 total deadhead miles. You add that all in, it totals 559 miles. Those are total miles, not just loaded miles. That breaks down to $476 a mile. So this number, $2,665.04. It kind of reminded me of a number I used to see. In order to make that money as a pharmacist, my last pharmacist job 3 years ago, I checked in, I worked 5 days a week, 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day. They paid me $67 an hour to do that, and at the end of the week, I would make $2,680. So kind of the difference of $15, but still to be able to go out and make what I used to make when people said, oh, you're a pharmacist, you make bank and everything like that. I never felt like I made bank. I felt like I made adult money. But, to be able to do that in one night feels a lot different than being able to do that in a week. And, you might question well, why make this video? Why, did you just want to come on here and brag about what you make? Absolutely not. My goal, and if that's how you perceive it, that's how you perceive it. But my goal is to reach, there's at least one person who's going to see this, who's on the fence right now with trucking. I kind of see that as like myself from a year ago, staying up late at night, watching these YouTube videos, these truckers being like, no, they can't make that much. They're lying. I can show you my numbers. I can show you my, I can show you the little things on the screen that are kind of like my rate cons and that type of stuff. You know, a year ago when I was on YouTube planning this whole trucking thing, everybody was super positive about it. Everybody was like, oh yeah, I'm, you know, making $10,000 a week. I'm da 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 da. Well, now a lot of those same people are like, don't get into trucking. There's no money in trucking. You're gonna make $1.80 a mile tops and everything. And I'm just trying to show you, you know, what I'm seeing, my truth in this whole thing, as far as, you know, the numbers that I'm seeing. Are they the same in your area? You would have to find that out. But, you know, I can speak about the Southern California market pretty well. I have a pretty intimate knowledge of that area, and you know, there's money to be made in trucking right now. So, you know, if you're on the fence, if you're thinking about like, man, should I pull the trigger on this whole trucking career, I would highly recommend it. I mean, especially if you're in Southern California, I'd love to see you out there. I'd love to see you out there running up and down the same streets I am. So anyway, I hope this video serves you well. Thanks for watching. Take care.